action, right? Okay, Ford Escort Mk.2, here we are again. Welcome to our YouTube channel. In the previous video we said that we're going to change this part of the chassis, and it's easier to say than do it. Like, this is the old one, this is the new one. We cannot just cut the old one, because then the car will behave like banana old one. So that's why I built this frame, to catch a car on the split thrust or some other place. Later I can approach with the face and the wing and everything, and the car will be still on the split thrust. Let me show you this frame that I built. Look at this closely. So this frame allows me to keep all these measures on the place. So when I remove this frame, I can freely cut this part of the car. Then I will return the frame where it was. Then I can place the new part of the car on the exact same place where the old part of the car was. And that's why it's restoration such a pain in the ass. Stay with us. Let's remove some frames. Look, I want to show you something. There was no necessarily need, or how to say that, to cut this box, because you see these dots here. Those are welds, and I just have to drill them, and theoretically this piece of metal will pop off out of the car. I did this purposely so I can show you. Look, this is what we cannot see. You see, we can do sandblasting from outside, we can prepare the surface. But you see these lumps and these irregularities on the metal, which saying that this inner tube is gone. And it was a good idea to change that. See, because we can do all the car from outside, rebuild the engine, gearbox, whatever, but these inner tubes are always rotting. So your money invested in this car is nothing if you don't pay attention on such a details. Here is a more. This part of the car, look, this peeling here from the top. You look how it looks like, how it's ugly. Or this is nuts. They are, you see this spring inside. They are rebuilt originally. I mean, somebody repaired that, and those nuts, they hold everything at the front of the car. So it was a good idea to put all that box all together. This approach of cutting bits when you change something on the car, as I said, I didn't have to do that, but it's easier to operate with a drill, because there is always some other welds like this or somewhere else that I cannot see, and when I try to remove, it makes me a headache. Now I have nice clean open area and I can work. You will see later what's going on. Usually just more rust. Let's go. Here she is, camera girl. Let me show you something. Look this. You see this in the beginning of the video. Like, it should be like this. The old marks are approximately on the line of the new after part. This is after part, so you cannot take it for granted, for sure. It has to be redone. Bolts are more or less on the same space. That means that I have to straighten up to tight to fit them perfectly, because this is very important positions. I noticed something else. You see this bolt? All chassis leg has a nut inside, and this bolt should go in, but if you look closer here, there is no hole and there is no nut in the new chassis leg. So I have to drill a hole and I have to weld the nut from inside. I don't know why, it's simply like that. That's the problems that we are meeting with them every fucking day. So I'll show you something else. So my tool is good. I'll use him later. Now I'm gonna remove this part. Put him here somewhere. Now, this is new part of chassis and it fits nice, but this thing is not good. So before I weld this onto that, I have to cut this, rebuild, I have to close these holes, I have to make some order here. I mark the end of the middle section, so this tube goes in and then this tube goes over it. You have to pay attention on these things before you do any welding, because then it's late. I spent some time to remove this with a drill and hand chisel and a hammer. I don't use pneumatic tools because welds are strong and they can destroy car. So if you want accurate measures, don't use force, use brain, if we have some. So this part, if you can compare with this was part of the chassis. You see this tin, it's rotten, so it simply didn't want to stay here. It was like this. So before I do anything on the car, I have to rebuild this part. Most of the parts are in the scrap already, but these parts I have to save all the time so I can compare, measure, and check many times before I do any welding. So in the next video, I hope this part will be restored, welded, the soft tin will be replaced, and then we can weld the chassis. Chassis also has to be prepared, here and there, few holes drilled, spread with something inside to protect. These nuts has to be reinforced and weld again, and this new nut has to be welded here somewhere. It looks new, but it's not until I say so. This sounds very serious. Uglavnom, stara kuća, mala bašta, u njoj Jugo 45, popravit ću te kad tad. Thanks.